Welcome, everyone, to Intensity Broadcasting for tonight's coverage of the Pennsylvania Posse iRacing National Open. Tonight, these 4 10-wing sprint cars will be taking on Williams Grove for 40 laps of racing action. I'm going to be your announcer for tonight. My name is Atlee Atman-Weiss, and I'm excited to call every second of tonight's dirt track racing coverage. As we continue to work our way through the Williams Grove Track Championship, it's time for one of the biggest races of the year. Looking back at what happened on Tuesday, we had a 25-lap race also here at Williams Grove, where we saw Mason Hannigan grab the win. He led 20 of the 25 laps. Had the fastest lap time of the race after starting in 5th. Finishing 2nd was Jacob Denny. He led 3 laps. 3rd was Trevor Royer. 4th was Alex Szerzynski. He led 1. And rounding at your top 5, that was Ryan Smith. And so at the end of that race, here's how the point standings shake out for the Williams Grove Track Championship. Trevor Royer is your point standings leader. Then he's got 7 wins this season. 2nd is Ryan Smith with 4 wins this season. 3rd is Andrew May. He has 1 win this season. 4th is Chris Fritz. And rounding out your top 5, that is Dakota Kuhn. Other winners this season include J.D. Myers, Mason Hannigan, and Kenny Hoffman. Do got to give a big thank you to our partners here with the iRacing Pennsylvania Posse. Also, got to give a big thank you, first of all, to the Turn 2 Terribles. Chris Lynn, Jeremy Zarfos, and Jimmy Barr are the Turn 2 Terribles. T2T was born in the infield at Port Royal Speedway, what once was a spot for a group of friends scattered throughout central PA. Could always meet and watch the best in the country compete. Turned into a podcast where the guys get to talk about dirt racing and interview some of the best talent on the national and local level. You can watch them live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, or you can find episodes the next day wherever you get your podcasts. So make sure to go and check out the Turn 2 Terribles. I put the link to their website in the description. Also got to give a big thank you to Jeremy Zarfos Photography. He does mostly racing content on his Facebook page, but you may see other kinds of photography. So if you're a big fan of motorsports photography, definitely go check him out. Put the link to his Facebook page in the description. That's Jeremy Zarfos Photography. Well, as we wrap up practice, we see William Hobart is top of the board with a 16.19. Second is Mason Hannigan with a 16.21. Third, it's Austin Griffey with a 16.27. 4th, Jimmy Barr with a 16.30. And rounding out your top 5, that is Dakota Kuhn with a 16.31. Gearing up for time trials here. The order for that has been determined by a random draw by a Discord bot. And I believe they said depending on how many cars, they will either go 2 out or 3 at a time. I think they may go 3 at a time because we have 33 cars in the session. It's going to be a crazy race. Obviously, we'll have some heat races to work through, as well as a consolation. So there will be drivers going home before we even start our feature event. But there you see time ticking down. And we are getting set to start time trials. See who will be our fastest qualifier at the always tricky Williams Grove. Really cool format that this series does, where they do a track championship for every single week. Race at the same track they've been running here at Williams Grove every single week since March. And so these drivers have experience here. They are ready to go. All right. We are getting ready for time trials here. There we see James Tenorelli heading to the end of pit road. Getting everything squared away. My apologies, we already have cars on the racetrack. Looks like that's Richie Gaines. He's gone to the top of the board with a 16.69. Joseph Grandy is second, also with a 16.69. Came down to the thousandth of a second there. Richie still faster, and then it's Ryan Broderick in third with a 17.15. He's about 0.4 off of Richie. There we see heading out onto the track now. That's George Wood in the number 11. Heads down the backstretch, sliding, running that cushion there through 3 and 4. We'll see what he can do to try to beat Richie Gaines on the board. So far, so good. Hangs on to it. And he will go to 6th. We see James Tenorelli currently second. 16.69. Again, comes down to the thousandths of a second. Richie Gaines still on top. That'll knock Joseph Grandy to 3rd. There's Aiden Casper Kraus on track now, car number 46. We'll see what he can do. See K1 race gear on that car. On a little bit of a lower line than we've seen some other people. He slides up the racetrack, barely misses tapping the outside wall. That'll put him 6th on the board with a 17.19. See Trent Curtis jumps to 4th. And there's Andrew May jumping to the top of the board with a 16.57. That puts him a 10th ahead of Richie Gaines. Knocks James Tenorelli to 3rd. Look at that. It just looks like May is just really in the racetrack. Was slower on lap number 2. We'll see if he can pick it back up on lap number 3. And not quite as fast as he was on lap number 1. Now, obviously, it's randomized on who goes out when for track state reasons. So nobody has an advantage on when they go out. Here's your next 3 out. See Ryan Smith jumping to 5th on the board. 16.70. Time to beat 16.57 by Andrew May. See Dakota Kuhn jumps up to 6th with a 16.78. 2 other drivers out there, Ryan Smith and Casey Weaver. And nobody getting faster. Next up, it's Tuesday's winner, Mason Hannigan on track now, the driver from Pittsboro, Indiana. One in that low line. And he gets to 6th on lap 1, 16.76. Oh, gets into the outside wall a little bit there on lap number 2. And because he had that incident point, that'll nullify that lap. So he'll be done for his run. We see Jacob Denny still out there trying to see what he can do. He currently sits 12th with a 17.03. But nobody has been able to top Andrew May yet. Here's somebody that's going to try. Troy Wagaman Jr. in the number 27. 19 on the ticker, 27 on the track. Trying to top a 16.57. To break into the top 3, you would need to beat a 16.69. Starts off, we see Wagaman able to run a 16.84. That puts him 11th. Almost 0.3 off. Does not pick up any there on lap number 2. Final lap. Can any more time be gained? No, he was really consistent, though. Ran a 16.84, another 16.84, followed by a 16.85. Can't really get more consistent than that. Here's somebody that some of you regular Intensity Broadcasting viewers may recognize from the Hoosier Open Wheel Series. That's Wade Fields. Driver out of Lawrenceburg, Indiana. Taps the outside wall on the backstretch there. I don't know if that'll be an incident point. So far, Andrew May has set the time to beat. And we see first lap 17.37 puts him 18th on the board. There's William Hobart heading out onto the track in the 13. See what he can do. Definitely a clean-looking car. There's Hobart heading off of 2. Trying to top that 16.57. But with the track state rapidly evolving, I don't know if that will be possible. Nobody's been able to break into the top 5 in a little bit. Hobart puts it 19th with a 17.17. About 0.6 off of what Andrew May turned. There's Noah Bowman out there now. Let's see what driver 24 out of Springfield, Illinois can do. Especially with this track state he's been dealt. Right up against that outside wall there. First lap goes to 19th with a 17.16. Get almost 0.6 off of what Andrew May turned. Tried something a little bit different that lap to see if there was any more grip on the lower lanes, but he was not faster, about 0.2 slower actually. And he will go 17th. As he does pick up on lap number 3. First person we've seen do that in a while. 16.99 was the time. Gets them to about 0.4 from the lead. There's J.D. Myers on track. He is a winner this season here at Williams Grove. Trying to do so again tonight. So far, he's able to get to 25th with a 17.23. And that'll do it for him. Jimmy Barr also on track. He put it 27th with a 17.37. So now there's Chris Fritz on the racetrack. Top 5 in points this season. Has had a good, consistent run. That's what you have to do sometimes in these long seasons is sometimes you have to points race. Not necessarily, he doesn't have a win this season, but like I said, 5th in points. So sometimes it's not about chasing those wins and risking it for the wins, but sometimes just about grabbing those consistent top 5s. And that can put you a little bit higher in those final standings than kind of a checkers or wreckers mentality. So 17.26 first time for the 65. Puts him 27th. He picks up to a 17.19, gets to the top 25. But I don't think anybody's going to top the 16.57 turned by Andrew May. And so he will slow up. And that should do it for qualifying. Andrew May is first. Then it's Richie Gaines, the third and second with the 16.69. Third is James Tenorelli. Fourth, Joseph Grandy. And rounding out your top 5, it's Ryan Smith. Well, we have this little break in the action. Let's talk a little bit about the track that we are racing at tonight. Williams Grove Speedway. Harkening back to a classic era in American racing, Williams Grove Speedway features history like no other dirt track on the circuit. The long straights and tight turns challenge the dirt drivers to a whole new level. Located just south of Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, this track has since become woven into the DNA of American racing as we know it today. And obviously, we are duking it out in the World of Outlaws 410 sprint cars. The ultimate thrill on dirt, the 410 is ready to deliver its 900 horsepower on the slippery stuff to give you the taste of what driving on the dirt feels like. Hang on tight, because this puppy does wheelies with tiny throttle inputs. Using a stock block pushrod V8 engine and a 30-gallon fuel tank, this car eats fuel like no other monster of a car. With a 1,400-pound weight and a 0 to 60 acceleration time of a blistering and quick 2.5 seconds, this machine makes the driver feel its might and grip whenever it goes around any dirt oval. So we are getting set up for our first heat race. Let's take a look at the starting lineup. Starting on the pole, fastest qualifier in time trials, Andrew May, 16.571. He's going to be on that 31. On his outside, it's Ryan Smith in the 91. Third, it's the 27 Nitro Racing driver of David Smeal Jr. Fourth is Aiden Krause in the 46. And rounding out your top five, it's the 34 of Jeremy Zarfos. In sixth, it's Jack Young in the 33. Seventh is Chris Fritz in the 65. Eighth, it's Indy Race Parts esports driver Wade Fields in the 71. And ninth, it's the 35 of Landon Lacey. So we are pacing here at Williams Grove for heat race number 1. Top 5 will advance from this heat and will lock themselves into the feature. Everybody else will be able to continue to fight in the Consolation, but obviously you want to be top 5 here and already have that chance to be in the feature and get ready to just determine your starting position with the dash and the warm-up. So pace truck is in. Here we go. Green flag is in the air, and your first heat race of the National Open is underway. Andrew May barreling it into turns 1 and 2. There's Ryan Smith on the outside. He will tuck in line into second. It's Aiden Casper Krause fighting for third between him and Jeremy Zarfos. We see Zarfos with the nose off of turn number 4, and he will clear himself over the 46 as they head into 1 and 2. Now we see Krause under attack from Jack Young. This is for position number 5, that final spot. Advancing to the feature. And now we see Zarfos. Aiden Casper Krause, or excuse me, Jack Young is reeling him in for third. Andrew May just ran fastest lap time of the heat race so far, 17.27. Obviously, those lap times not going to be as quick as they were in time trials. Casper Krause has got the nose on the outside for third. There's Zarfos on the bottom. We look to that cutoff spot. Currently occupied. It's side by side between Chris Fritz and Wade Fields. We see Chris Fritz able to get clear of the 71. He will take it for now. There's Fields heading down to the bottom. He will slide up and try to clear him, but Chris Fritz back down to the bottom lane. He will be in 5th. He needs to hang on for 4 more laps. A shot to automatically advance to the feature. Wade Fields needs to do something. And he also is under attack from David Smeal Jr. there. 3 laps to go. Fields sends it all the way down into 1 and 2. Almost makes contact with Krause, and he loses a ton of momentum. Fritz gets by him. 2 laps to go. That was the aggression that Fields needed, but it did not work out. So now David Smeal Jr. will slip up into the 6th place spot. He will have 1 lap to try to get by Fritz to snatch this 5th spot. There's Smeal, driving it hard. Ripping that cushion. He's got a big run on the backstretch. He's going to send it all the way down. And actually, we see the 65 dove down to protect that bottom lane. Prevented the slide job, and Chris Fritz is going to get that 5th and final invert spot. Aiden Casper Krause 4th. Jeremy Zarfos 3rd. Ryan Smith 2nd. And Andrew May will win the heat race. So everyone else will have to try to fight in through the Consolation. Mr. Cheeks125 says, where's Tenorelli? I believe Tenorelli will be in either the 3rd or 4th heat race. Not sure how it'll all shake out. But next, it's heat race number 2. We've got Richie Gaines, the third, and the number 5 starting on the pole. He qualified at a 16.687. Then it's Mason Hannigan, Black Diamond Motorsports racer, and the number 1 in second. It's the 14 of Casey Weaver in third. Fourth is Alex Szerzynski in the 23, and rounding at your top 5, it's the 24 Indy Race Sports Esports driver of Noah Bowman. Sixth is Ryan Broderick in the 6th. Seventh is the 091 of Ernie Williams Jr., and rounding out the field in 8th, it's Turn 2 Terribles, is Jimmy Barr in the 12. All right. A field of 8 cars. Again, top 5 automatically locks themselves into the feature event. This is going to be fun. And it's Richie Gaines, Mason Hannigan making up your front row. Pace truck is in, and green flag is in the air. There's Richie Gaines leading this gaggle of sprint cars into turns 1 and 2. But he's got Mason Hannigan going to his outside. We're 3 wide as there goes Casey Weaver sneaking through on the bottom lane. He will get to that first place spot. Alex Szerzynski, big run. He taps the outside wall a little bit, but he hangs on to it. He makes his way up to second. Now it's Hannigan. Richie Gaines battling it out for third. Little contact there. The 91 is sideways. That's Ernie Williams Jr. Ton of momentum lost there. He will fall to 8th. Szerzynski leads, but he's right under attack from Hannigan and Casey Weaver. Hannigan will take that lead. He heads up to the outside. Fastest lap of the race for Szerzynski, though. He is in second. He will tuck in line in front of Casey Weaver, but Weaver is right there. 5 laps to go. We look to the cutoff spot, and it's your pole set. Oh, we got a wreck on the front stretch. Caution flag is in the air. First caution of the heat races. And it looks like it may be Casey Weaver. We see he's running in that third place spot. Drives it in deep. And almost made contact with the 23 there. Keeps it off him. We see the 5 car of Richie Gaines into the inside wall a little bit there. And, oh, just gets into the back bumper, gets him lifted in the air. That gets Noah Bowman up into the outside wall. We see Gaines able to make it through, but tough break for Casey Weaver, who is running so fast. He is down on pit road. And that may have cost him a shot in the feature. Traverno2 on Twitch says, let's go BMR. Team here. And so lights on the pace truck are off. Getting ready to go back green. Currently holding down that 5th and final transfer spot is Noah Bowman, but he's got Ryan Broderick, Ernie Williams Jr. right behind him. And green flag is back in the air. 5-lap shootout. Mason Hannigan continues to lead, but all eyes right now are on Noah Bowman. He gets way up in the mud there. And so here's Ernie Williams in right. Oh my gosh, hard hit on the backstretch. And Noah Bowman will come to a rest, and he will Alt F4 off of the racetrack. So now it's side-by-side. Broderick, Ernie Williams Jr. fighting for that 5th and final transfer spot. They're side-by-side heading down the backstretch. We see Broderick leads heading into 3 and 4. Continues to have the momentum. 2 laps to go. That's 8 more corners for Ernie Williams Jr. to try to make something happen. Gap is pretty decent between Broderick and Williams. I don't know what Williams can do here. Final lap. Big run into 1 and 2. Gets close to the 6, but still not enough momentum. Last resort for 3 and 4. hoping for a mistake from the 6. He might have made it. They're close at the line, and no. Ryan Broderick will get that 5th and final spot. Richie Gaines was 4th, Jimmy Barr 3rd, Alex Szerzinski 2nd, and Mason Hannigan will get the heat race win. There you go, whoever was asking for James Tenorelli, he will be in this heat race right here, starting on the pole with a 16.688. It's car number 76. And second, that's Dakota Kuhn in the 95. Third, it's the 19 of Troy Wagaman Jr. Fourth is Turn 2 Terribles is Chris Lynn in the 32. Rounding out your top 5, it's the 61 of Jacob Denny. 6th, it's William Hobart in the 13. 7th is Kamikaze Motorsports is J.D. Myers in the 21. And rounding out the field, 8th, it's the 9 Nitro Racing driver of Jaden Bingaman. So we got a cheered squad for Tenorelli here on the Twitch chat. Starting on the pole, Richie Gaines was close to not advancing from the pole in the second heat race. So we'll see what Tenorelli can do. Pace truck is in. Green flag is back in the air. There's Tenorelli, ready to get this heat race number 3 underway. It's Troy Wagaman in second. He's got Dakota Kuhn right behind him in third. And we see there's that 19. Lost a ton of momentum. He's fallen to 5th now. Jacob Denny worked his way up to 2nd. We see Dakota Kuhn here in 3rd. It's Hobart and Chris Lynn side by side for 4th. Hobart with the momentum in the nose on that outside lane. He will get clear of the 32. And now James Tenorelli is under attack from this race lead. There's Jacob Denny smacking that outside wall, but he's still got a big run off the corner. He sends it to the bottom, and he will clear Tenorelli heading into 1. Fastest lap time of the race was turned by the 61 with a 17.73. But there's Tenorelli back down to the bottom, throws a slider, tries to get back up to the lead. It'll be a back and forth affair between these two. 5 laps to go. It's J.D. Myers hanging on to that 5th place spot right now. 5th and final transfer. And the next car who could take it is Troy Wagaman Jr. He is at least a second behind Myers. So right now, without a caution, it's looking pretty good for Myers to snag that final spot. Just has to run some good, clean laps and just hope that nothing crazy happens in front of him or behind him. This has definitely been the most competitive battle for the lead. So we see Jacob Denny leads. J.D. Myers just ran the fastest lap time of the race with a 17.63. That sprint cars came to life a little bit as we reach the latter stages of heat number 3. I see Jaden Bingaman. Oh, no, and that is not what J.D. Myers wanted. Caution flag is out with 2 laps to go. And I was just getting ready to say that it looked like Jaden Bingaman had crashed. He just hits the inside wall or on the front stretch. He just keeps smacking it. The wing falls off. This isn't USAC. And then he does little wheelie there. Obviously that wing not giving him the downforce that he needs. And after that, you're just kind of along for the ride. And he just loops it in 1 and 2. Does some ballroom dancing onto his roof. And I looked like he tried to Alt F4. But it was too late. Caution flag came out. Much to the dismay of J.D. Myers. Lights are off on the pace truck. Here we are, watching from the perspective of the 21. He's got Chris Lynn, Troy Wagaman Jr. behind him. Both of them hungry to try to snag this 5th place spot here in this 2-lap shootout Remember, though, J.D. Myers could advance his position. He was really fast. And there we go. Green flag is back in the air, and I believe it's 1 lap to go. J.D. Myers going to try his best to hang on to P5. And right now we see Lynn hits the outside wall. That'll knock him out. So it's just Troy Wagaman Jr. Sends it down to the bottom of the racetrack in a fight hard, but it's not enough. J.D. Myers will hang on to 5th, almost grabbed 4th there from William Hobart. We see James Tenorelli brings it home in 3rd after starting on the pole. Dakota Kuhn 2nd, and getting the win is Jacob Denny, who finishes the race fastest lap time, 17.50. So we've got 15 guys locked into the feature so far. Here we go. Final heat race of the evening. Let's take a look at the starting lineup. Starting on the pole with a 16.691. It's the 518 of Joseph Grandy on his outside. It's Trent Curtis in the 151. 3rd is the 90 of Trevor Royer. 4th, it's Brady Beavers in the 461. And rounding at your top 5, it's the 10 of Ryan Sheet. In 6th, it's NFG Motorsports' Austin Griffey. The 57. 7th is the 071 Blue Line Racing driver of Keith Bradley. And rounding out the field in 8th, it's George Wood in the 11. So here we go, the final 5 spots to make it 20 cars locked into the feature before we do our consolation, where 1 will advance. And green flag is in the air. We are underway for our final heat race. Joseph Grandy leads the field into 1 and 2, but there's Trevor Royer in hot pursuit for this race lead as they take it off of turn number 2. We'll see what Royer tries to do. Running that cushion on the outside, getting close to that back bumper of the 518. He looks low to the bottom into 1 and 2, and he will swoop in, slide up to the race lead. But Grandy looks back low, and there we see Ryan Sheet is there as well. We're almost 3 wide for this race lead. Trevor Royer still with the nose on the outside. We see Grandy tucks in line into 2nd, but he is under attack from Ryan Sheet. And it is tight racing all throughout the field. Sheet sends it down to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to clear Grandy. It is not enough. We see Grandy still holding strong up there. 5 laps to go. We see Trent Curtis is hanging on to this the 5th and final transfer spot, but not too far behind. It's the 461 of Brady Beavers. He'll have 4 more laps to try to snatch this 5th place spot. And oh, a little slip up there off of turn number 4. Might have cost Trent Curtis, but he blocks, heads down to the bottom. And he is all sorts of squirrely right now, so Brady Beavers will head down to the bottom. Trent Curtis with the momentum on the top. But we see Brady Beavers is able to clear him up off of turn number 4. He will snatch this 5th place spot. Just needs to hang on to it for 3 more laps. Trent Curtis trying to rebound. And Beavers is starting to run away with it. Not home free yet, but it's looking good as he heads into 3 and 4. The leader's just now taking the white flag. And Beavers just needs Trent Curtis to not do anything crazy here. And he will ride through 3 and 4. Beavers going to get the 5th and final transfer spot. It was side by side to the line. Austin Griffey gets 4th. Joseph Grandy 3rd. Ryan Sheet 2nd. And your winner was Trevor Royer. All right. This is it. One final opportunity, one last chance to try to get into the main. 13 cars, 13 laps. Here we go. Here's your starting lineup for your consolation race. Starting on the pole in drive 27, it's Nitro Racing's David Smeal Jr. In second, it's Ernie Williams Jr. in the 091. Third is the 19 of Troy Wagaman Jr. Fourth, it's Trent Curtis in the 151. And rounding out your top five, it's the 71 Indy Esports driver of Wade Fields. Sixth, it's his Indy Esports teammate, Noah Bowman in the 24. Seventh is the 32 Turn 2 Terribles driver of Chris Lynn. Eighth is George Wood in the 11. Ninth is the 33 of Jack Young. 10th, it's Casey Weaver in the 14. 11th, it's the 9 Nitro Racing driver of Jaden Bingaman. 12th, it's Blue Line Racing's Keith Bradley in the 071. And rounding out the field in 13th, it's the 35 of Landon Lacey. So here we go. Obviously, in racing, if you're not first, you're last. In those heat races, it was if you're not first through fifth, you're last. Now here, the win is all that matters. You want to get this win. Anything short of that will not be useful to any of these guys. So it is going to be a hard fight for this race lead. Nobody's going to give anybody an inch. And it's the front row. David Smeal Jr., Ernie Williams Jr. Got the junior of Troy Wagaman in third. For the final spot in the main, here we go. Green flag is in the air, and David Smeal Jr. leads the field into turns 1 and 2. It's Troy Wagaman fighting for second on the bottom. He will clear Ernie Williams Jr. as they head into 3 and 4. There's Trent Curtis trying to work his way up there. But it's David Smeal Jr. that will lead the first lap. Troy Wagaman Jr. hangs on to second, but he's got Ernie Williams on the outside trying to see what he can do up there. Now we see Wagaman Jr. sending it down to the bottom lane. Trying to get close to David Smeal Jr. But it's Wagaman, Williams side by side for second. Williams with the nose on the outside lane. He's got Trent Curtis right behind him. And we've got 10 laps to go. We see a car's into the inside wall. Right now, Williams with the momentum on the outside lane, trying to clear Wagaman. He is able to do so on the backstretch, but we see Wagaman. He's just going to send it right down to the bottom once again, trying to see if there's anything he can find up there. Now Ernie Williams, he is reeling in David Smeal for this race lead. Noah Bowman is the fastest car on the track right now, though. He is in third place. He did not have the track position, so he's trying to make use of what he has. And he's got 8 laps to try to get to the front. Oh, he smacks the heck out of the outside wall. Hangs on to it. But it's a battle for the lead. Williams Jr. down to the bottom. Ernie will take the race lead, but David Smeal looks low on the backstretch. He will dive down into 3 and 4 and snatch that lead back. We see Noah Bowman reeling in Ernie Williams for second. He heads down there to the bottom. Bowman with the momentum on that bottom lane. Williams trying to fight back on the outside, but there's Bowman slipping up into second place. He's got 5 laps to try to track down David Smeal for this coveted final spot in the main. But there's Ernie Williams Jr. fighting back on the bottom. Both of them closing in on David Smeal. Noah Bowman. He's missing his... Oh, that was a glitch there. I thought he was missing his roof wing there. But now Bowman has gotten to the outside of David Smeal. He's got the nose on the outside. Fastest lap time of the race. That 24 is quick. And he is able to get clear of Smeal with 4 laps to go, and he is starting to run away with it. Now the battle is on for second, which really doesn't mean anything. So really this battle is just whoever can be closest to Noah Bowman. And I don't know if anybody can catch Bowman. He's got that fastest car on the racetrack. He continues to run away with that race lead. Elsewhere on the track, we got battles. Oh, Wade Fields. George Wood getting into it. They keep it going straight, though. And the field is pretty spread out with 2 laps to go. Noah Bowman off of turn number 4. He started this race in 6th, biggest mover. He had to wheel and deal up through the field. He finally got by your race leader when time was ticking down. And talk about clutch. Gasses it up off of 4. He will get that final spot into the feature. Noah Bowman gets it done. Ernie Williams Jr. 2nd. David Smeal Jr. 3rd. Jack Young 4th. Trent Curtis 5th. But all eyes right here on this 24 car. Got it done when it counted. So we are now into our warm-up. We've locked everybody into the feature. The top 2 are now going to be going to a dash for the pole. And then we will redraw. Do a redraw here for the starting lineup of those who made the main. It's already been an exciting evening of racing action. Obviously, this is Intensity Broadcasting's first time ever with the iRacing Pennsylvania Posse. So for those of you who are new to the channel, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Hit that share button where applicable. If you like what you see, definitely appreciate all of that. Trying to reach our goals of 2,500 followers on Facebook, 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, 500 followers on Twitch. Make sure to check out our Twitter page, Intensity Broad 1. We're always dropping polls and interacting with our viewers on there. And you can check out our web store, intensitybroadcasting.com. There we've got a bunch of our merchandise, Intensity merchandise. And Intensity Apparel is our screen printing brand. If you are in need of any merchandise for your race team, for your business, for any event you're holding, then definitely contact Intensity Apparel. And we can do all of your printing needs. We can do shirts, hats, sweatshirts, crew neck sweatshirts, visors. We've done it all. So definitely hit us up. Any of your merchandise needs. So here we go. We are set for the dash for the pole. This is the top 2 from each of our heat races. Trying to figure out who we got on the pole, and I believe that will be Jacob Denny. So it looks like it'll be Jacob Denny on the pole. Then it's Andrew May, Ryan Smith, and Alex Szerzynski. And here we go. Green flag is in the air for our dash here in this warm-up section, or session, excuse me. And we see Jacob Denny able to get to that race lead. Andrew May is second. Oh, he gets hit from the back bumper. That was the 23 of Alex Szerzynski. And there goes Mason Hannigan on that outside lane. He's fighting hard with Andrew May. So Hannigan now will get that second place spot. It's Trevor Royer, Dakota Kuhn. I'm sorry, I'm getting all messed up because I'm looking at the running order here in practice. Just looking at the race here, it is Trevor Royer there in third. Right now, Jacob Denny does have the lead here in this warm-up. And field is getting pretty spread out between your top three. There's Ryan Sheet making it by Dakota Kuhn and continues to rip that bottom, getting by some other folks as well. Jacob Denny's in to the pits now. He ran a time of 17.92. That was his best. Mason Hannigan currently second on the board. Third is Trevor Royer. Hannigan just ran his best lap time of the dash so far. 17.94. So he will bring it down to the bottom of the racetrack. Everybody is disconnecting there. So now, after our 6 lap dash, gonna do a redraw, manually score the dash, and then we will get set for our 40 lap feature that will begin momentarily. Just letting the officials get all of that squared away. In the meantime, one more time, gotta give a big thank you to Turn 2 Terribles for being a part of the iRacing Pennsylvania Posse. Chris Lynn, Jeremy Zarfos, and Jimmy Barr are the Turn 2 Terribles. T2T was born in the infield at Port Royal Speedway. What once was a spot for a group of friends scattered through central PA could always meet and watch the best in the country compete. Turned into a podcast where the guys get to talk about dirt racing and interview some of the best talent on the local and national level. So watch live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Or you can find episodes the next day wherever you get your podcasts. So I put the link to the Turn 2 Terribles website in the description. Go check them out. They've got great guests, talk about all of what's going on in the dirt track racing world. And of course, like I said, good guests, great interviews with some of the top guys in the dirt racing community. And of course, got to give a big thank you to Jeremy Zarfos Photography for also being a part of the iRacing Pennsylvania Posse. He is a mostly racing photographer that goes around at various tracks as photography in real life and on iRacing. And he may do some other photography as well, but go check out his photos on Facebook. Put the link to the Facebook page in the description. Does a awesome job. Definitely some cool stuff on there. All right, here we go. We have gridded for our feature event. Let's take a look at your starting lineup. Starting on the pole, driver number 31, Andrew May. On his outside, it is Tuesday's winner, Mason Hannigan, in the number 1. Third is Jacob Denny. And fourth, it's your points leader, Trevor Royer. And rounding out your top 5, it's Ryan Smith. And 6th, it's the 23 of Alex Szerzynski. 7th is Dakota Kuhn in the 95. 8th, it's the 10 of Ryan Sheet. 9th, it's Jeremy Zarfos in the 34. And rounding out your top 10, it's the 12, Turn 2 Terribles driver of Jimmy Barr. 11th is James Tenorelli in the 76. 12th is the 518 of Joseph Grandy. 13th, it's Aiden Krause in the 46. 14th is the 5 of Richie Gaines III. Running at your top 15, it's William Hobart in the 13. 16th is the 57 of Austin Griffey. 17th is Chris Fritz in the 65. 18th is the 6 of Ryan Broderick. 19th is J.D. Myers in the 21. Rounding out your top 20, it's Brady Beavers. 21st is Noah Bowman in the 24. 22nd is Ernie Williams Jr. 23rd, David Smeal Jr. And rounding out the field in 24th, it's Jack Young. So my apologies. After that consolation race, your top 4 advanced. So Noah Bowman, David Smeal, Ernie Williams, Jack Young all punched their ticket in through the consolation. So now it is time to fight for all the marbles. Who will win the IPP National Open? 40 laps is the distance around Williams Grove Speedway. And we look at that front row. Mason Hannigan, Trevor Royer, Tuesday's winner, your point standings leader, both of them winners this season. And there we go. You know the racing's best when we're 4 abreast. What a beautiful sight to see for any racing fan. So we do the 4 wide salute. That's how you know it's going to be a fun one. So again, Mason Hannigan, Trevor Royer, Alex Szerzynski, Ryan Sheet, Ryan Smith. This is going to be entertaining. So there we go. Pace truck is in. Green flag is out and we are underway for the IPP National Open. Mason Hannigan leads the field into turns 1 and 2. It's Trevor Royer up there on that outside. Currently has the momentum. But there's Sheet there in the middle. Szerzynski on the bottom. They're all 3 wide fighting hard for second. Szerzynski with the momentum on the bottom. Trying to tuck in line, but then Royer up there ripping the cushion. He's got a nice run up there, and oh, we see a wreck on the backstretch. And that'll bring us under our first caution of the race. Not sure entirely what happened. There's Jeremy Zarfos. Oh! And the 31 just slides up right into him. That was Andrew May. And this just creates a bit of a traffic jam on the backstretch. Brings us under our first yellow of the feature. So Mason Hannigan was your leader when the caution flag came out. See, Alex Szerzynski is second. Ryan Sheet third. Trevor Royer fourth. And Dakota Kuhn rounds out your top five. We see both Andrew May and Aiden Krause are on pit road, getting damage fixed from that incident. Lights on the pace car are off, getting ready to go back green. Two laps are in the books. Pace truck is in. Let's keep the fun going. Green flag is back in the air. There's Mason Hannigan. Alex Szerzynski close behind in tow. Szerzynski gets right up to that back bumper, trying to see what he can do. We see Hannigan protecting that bottom, not letting Szerzynski try to pull a slider down there. He heads up to the top side now. Ryan Sheet fighting hard for second. It's Trevor Royer that gets by Sheet, though, on the outside in third. He's trying to track down Szerzynski now for second. Szerzynski on the bottom. Trevor Royer on the top. Right now, Szerzynski has the momentum on the bottom, but there's Royer fighting hard, running right up against that outside wall. He's not quite fully clear, but he is able to do so as they head through 1 and 2. So now Szerzynski's trying to protect that third place spot from Ryan Sheet. We see Sheet almost getting into that left rear there. And Dakota Kuhn, watch out for the 95. He's trying to make a push, and he splits it 3 wide down the middle. He will have the nose as they head onto the backstretch. Slips up in front into third now. So the battle is on for fourth between Szerzynski and Sheet. Szerzynski will take it, and he runs right behind the 95. Heads to the outside, right up against the outside wall. The cushion continuing to rapidly disappear as the track continues to get run on, and we are back under caution for the second time tonight. And there is, we're watching David Smeal Jr. was able to get into the feature from the Consolation. And no, this happens nowhere near him. Looks like it's William Hobart in the outside wall. He taps Noah Bowman, and oh! That was Jimmy Barr, just clobbers the 13. And we're seeing a little bit of backwards driving there from the 13. He heads up the racetrack right in front of David Smeal Jr. And, oh, there goes Aiden Krause. Plowing into the 13, sends him on his side. Onto his roof. It's a very bad time. So Mason Hannigan continues to lead. Trevor Royer up to second. Dakota Kuhn third. Alex Szerzynski fourth. Ryan Sheet rounding out your top 5. The big mover in this one. So we let the field get itself shaked out. It's been Ernie Williams Jr. started this race in 22nd, has gotten almost up into the top 10. I'm sure we'll expect to see him continue to try to fight all the way up to the front. He got 6th on Tuesday. So pace car is in. Green flag is back in the air. The Winged Warriors take it on into turns 1 and 2. Trevor Royer trying to fight around the outside to get to Mason Hannigan for this race lead. And he is able to get right up there, fighting hard. We see Hannigan on the bottom, Royer on the top. Hannigan still with the momentum on the bottom. But there's Royer, big run into 1 and 2. And he is able to clear Hannigan as they take it up off the corner. So now Mason will tuck in line into second, sends it back down to the bottom. But Royer, big time run right up against the outside wall. We watch Jacob Denny up to position number 3. He's got Alex Szerzynski trying to fight him. Or excuse me, yep. And then Dakota Kuhn right there in 5th. Trying to track down Alex Szerzynski there for 4th. But it is just a gaggle of race cars all throughout the field. Joseph Grandy fighting with Ryan Sheet for the 6th place spot. Right now, Sheet is clear. We look now to the battle for second. Jacob Denny has caught Mason Hannigan. Denny heads to the outside. Hannigan continuing to run on the bottom lane. And now Denny has the momentum on the outside. We see Hannigan tries to send it on the bottom, but it's not enough. Denny able to get clear. Hannigan doing everything he can. But it is not enough. Looking elsewhere, there's Joseph Grandy in the 7th place spot, trying to track down Ryan Sheet for 6th. We see he heads to the outside. We see Sheet still staying ahead. We see Ryan's trying to track down Dakota Kuhn for 5th place right now. Grandy continuing to head to that outside lane. And this is craziness right now. Close quarters, tight racing. We see Richie Gaines onto pit road. Not a good sign for the 5 team. 25 laps to go in this race. Trevor Royer continues to lead. He's got a 5/10 gap over Jacob Denny. Not home free yet, but it is looking good. Dakota Kuhn, Grandy going at it for position number 5. Kuhn still with the nose on the bottom lane. But there's Grandy fighting hard. The outside definitely still has the momentum. We've seen numerous passes get made up there. And he will stay right there in that 5th place spot, able to get by Dakota Kuhn. Now Kuhn under attack from Chris Fritz, able to do the same thing. Fritz on the outside gets clear of the 95. Kuhn continuing to try something on the bottom lane, but it is not enough. So now Dakota Kuhn has lost a few spots back down to where he started. Regroup and try to get back by the 65, heads down to the bottom lane. Fritz, who's been a big mover in this race, continues to hold that spot, though, on the outside. Just has not been able to make the bottom work. Halfway through this one, Trevor Royer continues to lead. Does have some lap traffic he's coming up on, though. That's Andrew May. Able to get right by him. Jacob Denny keeping it within striking distance. Both of them just saving their stuff. But I would say if you've been waiting, it's go time. Time to make that fight up through the field. No better time than now. And we can already see the fight is going on for 6th as Dakota Kuhn has 2 cars right behind him. He was able to get back by Fritz for the 6th place spot. But there's Ryan Smith in the 91 looking low on the bottom of the 95. And he slides up right in front of Kuhn. Kuhn heads down to the bottom now. Battle for the lead beginning to brew as we see Jacob Denny closing in on the 90. Royer keeping it right up against the outside wall, but Denny has some strong momentum on the bottom. Now Denny heads up there against the outside wall, trying to carry a run. So Royer had a pretty sizable lead, but now he's under attack. Denny is right there. Big run into 3 and 4. Not able to do anything with it. Continues to fight. 15 laps to go for Trevor Royer. It's going to be a tight one between these two. But Trevor Royer keeps it ahead of Denny. Now Mason Hannigan, who started outside pole. Heel is going to try to see what he can do in 3rd. Kind of in the catbird seat right now. Because if something happens with these two up front, he will be ready to pounce. And Trevor Royer is starting to extend that gap once again for the race lead. Grandy closing in on Ryan Smith for the 5th place spot. This 5th place area has definitely been under a lot of contention. Look back to the lead. Currently a 3-horse race. Trevor Royer, Jacob Denny, Mason Hannigan all right there. Just waiting to see who will get that run. Jacob Denny setting things up. Waiting for Royer to slip up or waiting for that gap to open itself up. But he's going to have to play offense and defense because he's got Mason Hannigan right behind him ready to pounce. And they will have to pick this up after the caution. With 11 laps to go. And this will get the field tightened back up. But let's see what happened. It's your consolation winner of Noah Bowman. We see he gets into the outside wall. He's got 2 cars running tight right in front of him. And, oh, he just clips that lip in the outside wall. And that sends him around right in front of Jimmy Barr. Or, excuse me, no. So here we go. We're going to have a 10-lap shootout. Lights on the pace car are off. Trevor Royer on the bottom. He had Jacob Denny right on his back bumper. He's going to be on the top. It's Mason Hannigan. He was close. Watch out for Alex Szerzynski, and then Ryan Smith rounds out your top 5. Pace truck is in. Green flag is back out. There's the 90 launching out of the restart zone. Jacob Denny in hot pursuit as they head into 1 and 2. Denny running that outside right behind the 90. We see Mason Hannigan there as well on that bottom lane. He's got a big run off of turn number 4. Fighting for the lead now. And he will have enough momentum to slip in front of Jacob Denny. Now it's all about attacking this 90. Big run through 1 and 2 on that bottom lane. Oh, we got 2 cars hard into the outside wall. And that'll bring us under another caution. So fourth caution of the race. Let's see what happened. And had great track position. Here, Szerszynski was practically 4 wide. There you see he's in a bit of a sandwich between Ryan Smith, Joseph Grandy. We see Jacob Denny's up there. And see the 91 of Ryan Smith kind of came up right up into him. Oh, geez, on the backstretch, Szerszynski just comes up right into Grandy, puts them both in the outside wall. Everybody just trying to make it through. Looks like besides those two, everybody able to get through. So here we go. 8-lap shootout now. It's Trevor Royer leads, Mason Hannigan, Jacob Denny, Ryan Smith, Ernie Williams Jr. Where did he come from? He's in 5th. And green flag is back in the air. Let's finish this thing off. There's Mason Hannigan diving down to the bottom, picking up where he left off before that caution flag came out. He's got the nose over Trevor Royer as they take it into turns 3 and 4. And he should be able to slide up in front of Royer. Not quite yet. He's got the momentum on the bottom. Now Royer going to be under attack from Jacob Denny, who was right behind him. Hannigan's starting to extend that gap a little bit. Watch out. Here comes Ryan Smith. He's closing in on Jacob Denny for 3rd. Jacob Denny playing offense and defense as he continues to try to track down Trevor Royer for this 2nd place spot. Closing in on 5 laps to go. And it's side by side between Smith and Denny. Falls way back. There's Ernie Williams getting up to 4th. So now Ryan Smith up onto the podium. Next stop is trying to get by Trevor Royer here for 2nd. Elsewhere in the field, we see James Tenorelli, J.D. Myers duking it out. But it's Trevor Royer now. He's got Ryan Smith. Smith looking to the bottom lane. Royer still with the nose on the outside. They're practically equal off the corner. Neither driver giving the other an inch. Now Ryan Smith has the momentum on the bottom lane, running right up against that inside wall. Not quite clear yet. There we go. He is able to shut the door and extend that gap. Mason Hannigan, currently 2-second lead over the rest of the field. Not home free yet, but it's looking good for driver number 1. And the field is starting to get spread out. Ryan Sheet there in 7th. Able to make it by James Tenorelli, but we look to Mason Hannigan. Started this race in 2nd. Fell back to 3rd, was kind of hanging out there, reeling in your top 2 of Royer and Denny. And then took advantage of that restart, got to the race lead. And he's hung onto it from there. There he is off of turn number 2. Nothing to worry about. Just has to keep it clean. Into 3 and 4. And Mason Hannigan will get it done. He wins the IPP National Open. Ryan Smith brings it home in 2nd. Trevor Royer takes 3rd. Ernie Williams Jr., heck of a run for him. He started in 22nd. He works his way up to 4th. Jacob Denny finishes in 5th. And so we do have another stream that we do need to get to here on Intensity Broadcasting, so we're not going to be able to do driver interviews. But what a race it was. But definitely going to give a big thank you to iRacing Pennsylvania Posse. Definitely for giving us the opportunity to do the broadcast. Definitely was a fun event. Got to give a big shout out to Turn 2 Terribles and, of course, Jeremy Zarfos Photography for being proud partners of the iRacing Pennsylvania Posse. One more time, congratulations to Mason Hannigan, Ryan Smith, and Trevor Royer on their top 3 finishes. Of course, got to give a big thank you to you, the viewer, for tuning in to watch tonight. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to Intensity Broadcasting on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, as that would be greatly appreciated. We're trying to reach our goals of 2,500 followers on there, 1,000 subscribers on Twitch, and 1,000 followers on 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Check out our Twitter page, Intensity Broad 1. We're always dropping polls and interacting with our viewers on there. And check out our website, intensitybroadcasting.com. For those of you watching, do not touch that dial, I guess you could say, because we're going to have more racing action coming up very shortly with the Thunderstruck Super Series Sam Alley Co. Late Model Series Asphalt Late Models at USA International Speedway. Not going to want to miss that. So stay right here on Intensity Broadcasting. Turn on those notifications. We will be back live in just a second.